return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return
Okay,
it to
one
the
sec,
security
guys.
office. If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office.
All right.
Lost item, please return it to the security office.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. Very morbid indeed. Okay, let me make sure I got everything pulled up really quick. Okay.
If anyone finds a lost item, please return
All
it to the
right.
security office.
I think we are good. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you guys can hear me. If not, that sucks. Awesome. Yep, yep. Cool. You guys can hear me. That means I can hear me, kind of. Hopefully microphone and technical issues will be a little bit better today. Okay, one sec. Because I'm trying just bare bones streaming software. No cats chomping the chat box. No shenanigans like that. So we are just going to go bare bones right here. This is like literally the bare minimum I can potentially start a stream with. And actually today we're going to put chat over here. Right here, because right here in this spot in the bottom right corner, there is pretty much like crucial information when it comes to team building and stuff, which is obviously like the Esper cycles and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's just going to be a pretty chill stream. And oh my gosh, she's yapping a lot. Do we have any lost items? Let's see. Hello. Okay, so now that I want to return a lost item, You've got nothing to say, huh? That's how it is. Okay. Okay, fine. What about you?
If anyone finds a lost item,
I know we've fought a few times because you are great for farming the whatever you call it, the wanted level.
if anyone finds a lost item,
Yeah, this thing.
please return it to the
Sorry, I apologize. My finger slipped. This is so messed up. This is so messed up, guys. Good thing it's just pretend. Good thing it's just pretend.
Anyone finds a
So,
lost item,
let's
please
see.
return it to the security office.
So, on today's agenda, we are going to be trying to basically
Anyone finds a lost
talk
item,
about team
please
building
return
for
it to the
every
security
single
office.
character in this game. And hopefully we can get some pretty decent teams structured and like built and presented. And then I'll try to convert that into a, you know, more so of a VOD or something. And also at the same time, that VOD will have a lot more gameplay, especially of level 80 characters, thanks to, you know, kind of the media server footage and stuff that I gathered from testing a lot of these teams. So
I don't
I'll be
do
able to
vague
provide some
requests.
insight on that stuff. And let me double check a few more sound settings and stuff like that. Okay. Turning down the volume a little bit on my headphones. Don't want that to be too loud. Adjusting a couple other things. Yeah, streaming's always an ordeal.
If anyone finds a lost item, please return it to the security office.
Personally, I prefer, you know, just casually making videos on the low key. But streaming's fun because I get to say hi to you guys. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn in some lost items. I want to see like if there are actually any lost items you can turn in. So we have, I think we turn in lost items over here at the same place where if you beat the Justice Executioner, you go and claim your free S rank arc. So we're just going to go and head on over really quick just to check that out. And maybe we'll do some dailies too and stuff like that. But we'll see. We'll see. At the very least, for sure, we're going to go through all the characters in the game. So hopefully that will prove to be useful information for you guys. And as you can see, I managed to get my motorcycle license somehow. And someday, probably with my personal midlife crisis, I will probably also get a motorcycle license. But it's not looking good for my rates of survival based on how I drive in this game. So we'll see. We'll see if I manage to survive after I get a motorcycle myself. But my guess is that probably not. Probably not. No more I went to lose videos after I get my motorcycle, guys. Yes, I do actually. Anyway, let's go ahead and see if we can turn in some stuff here. I have some extra mousy cookies. What? Oh, okay. So I think this is from beating up like delinquents and stuff, or like being a good Samaritan. What is this? Allows modifications at Rampage players. Oh, so this is a custom car decal. That's so cool. Okay, anyway. So let's turn in lost items. Do we have... Oh, we do have lost items. Look at that. Okay, so the fun fact about this wallet right here, is I actually beat some guy up to pick up his wallet. So this lost item was because of me, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like we can just grab the fawns out of it and use it, which is a bit of a shame. So, but let's turn this in. Oh, we get a mousy cookie, one single mousy cookie for a lost item. So you could farm NPCs in the overworld. You could farm NPCs in the overworld, I guess, and then just try to get some mousy cookies out of them. That's pretty funny. But that is going to take a lot of effort. That's a lot of effort to accomplish that. For sure, for sure. Okay. So, alrighty, let's start talking a bit about team building in Neverness to Everness. And hold on one sec. Let's see. Okay, so you'll notice that my face is a little bit brighter because of a Microsoft Word there not really having a dark mode. So, not Microsoft Word, Google Sheets, that's it. Does anyone actually use like the Microsoft suite anymore? Personally, I just use the online versions of them. I find them more convenient than standalone software. So, okay, let's see. What did I want to do? Oh yeah, we got the time system. Personally, I find that shots during the day tend to look a little bit better, but I don't think anyone pays attention or really notices that. But we will shift it over. And in case you guys are curious, check this out. Check this out. I think some of you guys already saw the video that I posted on unlocking this thing. But we have Hethero's Keeper right here. And Hethero's Keeper summons this little cop car that will actually attack nearby enemies for you. So it's actually pretty hilarious. It's actually pretty hilarious. And when you swap off field, it stays on field. So that's pretty that's pretty cool. And its damage probably adds up a reasonable amount. But considering how quick it is to cast, you know, maybe it's a decent option. But it does have only 50% uptime with a 30-second duration and 60-second cooldown. However, it does attack like, I would say 10 to 15 times during its summon duration. So, you know, 1,000 to 1,500 MV just by pressing the R key. You might have some incentive. Uh-oh. Oh, no. I don't want to be wanted by the cops today. I'm not about the wanted life today, okay? Can you drive the cars with only one tire? Oh my gosh, you can. Okay. Hang on. We don't need this car. We don't need this car. I didn't actually want to take the car. Okay. We're good. We're cooling down. Good stuff. Okay, I was worried there for a sec. After fighting the cops for like 30 minutes yesterday, I've had enough. Those guys are cheating. Okay? They do like a lot of damage per shot. Hey, let me get on that car. Let me get on the cop car. Okay, 1 sec. Come on. Look at him just defying traffic laws. Whoa, he even pushes me. He pushes my... Hey! Oh, no. Oh, did I get him to stop? Okay, hang on. Whoa, he just went in reverse now. What the heck? No, come back. Oh my god, the cop's trying to run me over. Okay, one sec. Hang on. This is very important. What? We can't pop your tires? Okay, there. What is going on? Oh my god, the cop is just deleting other cars. That's crazy. Man, see, I'm telling you guys, the cops in this game, they are... Oh, what? That's what you get for getting in the way. Oh my god, they're just vanishing people. Okay, these cops are really crooked, man. These cops are messed up. Anyway, we're just gonna hitch a ride on the cops for a bit. See how this goes. I gotta find out what happens. Oh my god, they drive worse than I do. Are you kidding? Look at these two clowns. Oh my god. All right. Where are we going, buddy? Huh? You're taking me on a tour through New Hethero. This is kind of a nice free teleport waypoint, basically. Just moving. No, come back. Okay. Whoo! How long can you do this for? Oh my gosh. These cops need to go after each other for their questionable driving skills, okay? Okay, like what is this? Okay, what if I shoot you guys? They don't even care. Okay, I think it's because Natalie's gun is like a pretend gun, right? So let's bring terrain restricted. Oh, I can't switch characters right now. Okay. All right, well, either way, this is a pretty good ride. I'm having a good time. We're one with the cops, one with the police. Hey, look, their car is suffering damage. Look at that. Usually, like, I don't notice the NPC's car is getting damaged, but this cop's car is getting messed up. Look at that. See? Now the cop's car is actually suffering damage. They're going to have to repair. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Just, wow, that is messed up. That car just, like, what's that cop maneuver when you, like, ram the back of another car to get them to stop? It's like, there's, like, a word for it. I don't remember it. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This is great. This is great. I could do this all day. I could just see the cops do this all day. But I won't. I won't. We have to move on. Something rustling in the bushes? No, I don't. Whoa! So yeah, the cops cheat because they like teleport to get out of the way. So they've got some anomaly shenanigans going on with their cop car. And if I walk a little bit, it'll be a little easier to control myself on the car. There we go. Okay. Hope you don't mind some shoes on your windshield because that's all you're going to be seeing. That's all you're going to be seeing. Pit maneuver. That's right. We've already seen this cop do like 2 pit maneuvers against just the poor. Oh my God, he's driving on the sidewalk too, running over pedestrians. What the heck? Oh my. Hey, get me off of that one. I want to be on this one. That's what you get for crashing into a cop. You vanish out of existence. Oh, look at his car. It's so beaten up now. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry guys, we're having a bit of a detour. We need to see how badly beaten up the cop's car can get, okay? Here, I'll help a little bit. I'll help a little bit. Natalie will try to smack your car. There we go. There we go. He doesn't seem to mind, which is good. No. This is why Natalie has that animation. It's because it's for when she's trying to stay on a cop car. The balance is very difficult. It all makes sense now. Ugh! Take that! Take that! Freaking cops. Whoa! They're getting off? They're getting off? Okay. They got off. That's wild. Okay, why did they get off? Can I steal it now? Hang on. Hang on. Okay. Oh, I can! I can't just steal it. Okay, so they got off the car for some reason. Okay, but can I be unwanted now? What if I go to my property? Okay, sorry people. I'm just experimenting with this car right now. Oh wait, I think I might need the Penguin Villa to drive it into a property to clear the warrant. Oh, they're still shooting at me. What the heck? Dude, it's just the car. Oh my gosh, these cops are messed up. I'm just minding my own business. Are they still chasing me? Okay, hang on. All right, we're gonna drive away from the cops really quick, and then we're gonna park it somewhere. And I'm gonna see if Whoa, this car seems pretty good. Look at that max speed, it just keeps going. 160, 170. And this is when it's even messed up too. Like this cop car has suffered a bit of a beating. Okay. We're just gonna park it here. All right. Are the cops still going after me? No? Are we good? Okay, hang on everyone. Ride? If I just ride it, is that a criminal activity to ride the cop car? Oh man. Okay, one sec. Hang on, my warrant's not clearing. I don't think I can afford... Oh, there's another cop! Oh god.
Why are you standing on my car route?
Where did he come from? Okay, I'm just gonna hide here. Okay, you can't shoot me from here, right? Oh god. Maybe you can't. Ha.
I will see through the nexus.
There's a car robber. Call the security office.
There's a car robber? You're talking about the cops. Heh. Yeah, they can't seem to figure this out.
Do you have to wander on the road? It's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous. You're telling me. Why do you think it's dangerous? The cops are blasting your car windows. Oh my gosh, she's blaming me. I'm innocent. I'm innocent here. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. I see you. Keep your eyes on the road. Whoa. Whoa, keep your guns to yourself, okay? Hands, feet, and guns to yourself. All right, I guess we'll ride in this car. This doesn't seem to be working out for me. They cannot see me anymore. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Oh God, they just killed her. Okay, okay, hang on. All right, fine. If that's how you want to do it, we'll just take this one. We'll take this one. Hey, buddy. Okay, hang on, everyone. This is really dangerous right now. So we're gonna go towards one of our properties here. So it looks like my warrant didn't go up anymore despite stealing this other cop car. So I wonder if I clear my warrant, if I can just drive it around freely. Okay, well, we're going to find out one way or another. Let's go. Let's go. Oh my God, that drifting radius. I just hope that the cop car doesn't despawn when I clear my warrant. So I'm going to park it right here. Usually the cars don't disappear like that quickly like your personal cars. So if we leave that cop car right there and head over to clear our warrant, I can still hear the siren going. Okay, let's clear our warrant and then go grab the car again. Come on. All right. Yes, okay, we're clear. But the cop car stopped sirening. Can we get out from here? Yes, we can. Okay. Is it still there? Is it still there? Is the cop car still there? Come on. No! No, it's gone! Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Maybe in the big mansion, you could get away with it because you can drive straight into the garage there. So if you can drive straight into the garage, maybe the cop car won't actually despawn. So, oh, someone's requesting join my world. Okay, hang on. Not right now. Not right now. Wait, I thought my MC died. I thought she died. Somehow she revived. Okay. The drive option will still make you wanted. No, but see, when I stole the second cop car, it didn't increase my warrant anymore. So I'm curious, like maybe each cop car only has one increased warrant when you steal it. That's a potential hypothesis. I have no idea if it's true or not, but I wanted to test that, right? We may try again once we unlock the Penguin Villa, because that way we can drive straight into the garage there. Straight into the property. Oh yeah, I've gotten arrested many times. If you look at my channel, you'll see that I beat the Justice Executioner, and that thing you have to get arrested. Well, okay, you don't, but if you die, which I died multiple times, you'll get thrown in prison. You'll get thrown in prison, which kind of sucks. Okay, so here we go. Now let's can I afford the Penguin Villa? I don't think I can. Isn't that like $12 million? I think it's like 12 million. Yeah, if we go to purchase right here for this one. Do I have to go here to actually take a look at it? Okay, let's just go take a look at it real quick. I'm pretty sure it's like 12 million fawns, which is a little pricey. So that's going to take some time, even for us whales, to afford. Okay. So here we go. Let's take a look. All right. So Skyview 1.48 million. Oh, it's not penguin. It's fenglin. I thought it was a penguin or something. But yeah. 8 million. I guess I'll try to save up for it because check this out, guys. You get the Ghost Racer car, which is pretty sick. But yeah, we're going to try to save up for that. And I'll just skip these two, honestly. Because, yeah, this one's cooler. Wasted money, but it's cooler. That's all that matters. Okay. Hang on. Anything else that we need to check right here? Am I capped on pixels? I'm not. So we're good. We're good on resources. Now we can finally talk about team building, which is the original intention of this video. So let's see, or I guess of this stream, guys. Now, let me try to catch up with what people are saying about this. Did I get the most expensive car yet? No, I personally prefer motorcycles. Motorcycles are, in my opinion, the most flexible, and they're still pretty darn fast. Because what's great about motorcycles over cars is, check this out. Bam! You can summon it almost anywhere. And that makes it such a great quality of life in comparison to cars, which, you know, you summon it and it's like trying to obey traffic laws and stuff. So then it just like auto drives like way over here. And then you have to try to find your car or wherever it is. But the motorcycle, on the other hand, no, check this out. You just hop on it anywhere and you can go. Also, durability doesn't seem to affect its speed. So my motorcycle is like really messed up right now, but like look how fast it's still going. It like doesn't matter. And that's a really cool thing about, hey, from one motorcycle to the other, buddy. Yo, this guy, oh my God, he's shooting me.
I won't fall. I will not.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my, did I just kill him? Okay, I didn't mean for it to escalate that much. But, I mean, that's fine. Now I can take his motorcycle. Okay. Well, you know, all's well that ends well. As long as you're not the guy that got murdered and your motorcycle stolen, then all's well that ends well. Not for him, though. Not for him. But you know what? His last famous words were, ugh. So, here we go. But yeah, that's the thing about motorcycles and why I like them so much. And also, you can have a character besides the MC drive it. See, we have Hathor driving it. And we even have the custom skin on it. Thanks to Hathor's signature weapon.
Clarity.
So if you have Hathor and you also go grab the Ghost Rider S rank arc right here, the Raging Flames, the motorcycle will turn into this flaming motorcycle, which is just so cool. So that's why, to me, I'm a motorcycle stan. Now, I think you can't use motorcycles in the races, though. And because of that, that is why, like, that is one of the biggest issues with the motorcycle, is that you can't use it in the race. So, yeah, just kind of one thing to keep in mind. If you are planning to get the motorcycle and you also want to perform well in the races, you won't really be able to do that. So, okay. But there is one thing that we need to test as well before we talk about team build. I keep getting distracted here, but these are all very important things. All very important. So this next thing to test, absolutely critical for gameplay experience. But let's see. So we're going to teleport up here. Okay. All right. Where's my motorcycle? There it is. Okay. Actually, I think we need a little bit more of a runway. So let's head on over to this thing. All right. Okay, this angle is a little tricky. Let's not fall off. All right, ready? Set. We're gonna launch off and see what happens. Okay, here we go, Hathor. I hope you are excited for this ride here. Free of charge, of course, because, you know, we are just that generous for this amusement park. We call this the Death Anomaly Ride. Just ignore the death part. That part is negligible. It deals negligible damage. However, let's go. Okay, ready? Set. Go, go, go! Okay. Whoa! Hey. Okay, that was kind of anticlimactic. Not gonna lie. Like, I was expecting more out of that. But I am a little disappointed. So let's go ahead and drive off this one instead. Oh, I'm stuck. I can't drive off this one. What? I feel robbed. There's like an invisible wall for motorcycles only. That's really biased against motorcycles. Man, what the heck? Okay, I'm disappointed. Let's try going the other direction this time. Okay, we'll try launching it up the ramp. Up the ramp instead.
Stay balanced.
All right. Where'd it go? It's down there. The heck? Bring it up here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna launch it this direction. Oh my gosh. These 7-point turns. Very good driving skills here. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Ready? Set, go! Alright. Where we fall, the world may never know. Oh. You know what? It's really not as exciting as I was expecting. But I do like how we leave tire skid marks in the air. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. That's how OP these motorcycles are. Fantastic. All right, anyway, I think we can move on now. Huh. If you hit the right objects, you can catapult yourself.
Careful now.
You can also catapult your motorcycle too. Hang on. We got to find the right brick here. There's like a type of brick on the ground that you can run over or that you can hit. No. Okay. I think we've had enough motorcycle shenanigans, guys. But yeah, if you can't tell, this is why I prioritize the motorcycle over the cars. It's just because the motorcycle is so flexible. Right, it really is. Like, look at how much I'm abusing it. No loss in speed. Like, imagine your actual car with this much damage on it. Like, this thing will barely even run. Like, this thing, you can barely even move it. So, like, see, look at what happens when this happens and you try to drive it. Right, so let's say you messed up your main car a little bit.
Huh? Is there something on my face?
Yes.
Maybe we should just leave the
This is so stupid. Oh my, imagine driving around town like this. Like I can't even. You can't even turn. This thing can't even turn. Pay the fine? What fine, Mint? Is there a fine involved here? Just driving on my rims, you know?
Maybe we should just leave the fun.
What can I say? This looks like this is a great rim job, guys. I hope you like rimming because this is how you're gonna drive your car. See? So this is what happens when you have a regular car. But look at this.
I'll provide backup.
Oh my God! Switch to the motorcycle. Look at this. Look at this beautiful machine right here. Not even Natalie. Oh wait, you can destroy the tires on this? You can destroy the tires on it? Oh no! How much is that gonna cost? Can I still drive it? Oh no! It sucks. It sucks now. I can't even turn at all. Okay, okay. Here.
Shift change. Don't make me clean up for too long.
Huh. I guess an actual gun doesn't work. But Natalie works. Natalie works. Oh, my... Hey, oh, what the heck? Did I just die? What happened? Oh, my God. I got wrecked by that car. And then I just teleported. Unable to call vehicle. Oh, no. My poor motorcycle. Unable to call vehicle. What the heck is going on? Oh my God. Did I delete my motorcycle from the game? Okay, let's try to fix this. Let's try it. Oh my God. I got NPC'd. No, what happened to my motorcycle? Ah, is it gone forever? Okay, can I call my car? Oh, you know what? I think because the tires are messed up, the game won't drive it for you. I think that's what's going on. The game can't drive the cars with messed up tires. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, that's fine. We'll fix up our cars, hopefully. I hope I can afford the repair fees here. So let's see. We can repair? Oh yeah, not too bad. 3,694. Easy peasy. And I guess we'll repair this thing too. I mean, why not? Yeah, there we go. That should fix it. Wait, still unable to call? Oh my God. Where are my vehicles? Am I stuck forever? Hang on, hang on. Maybe I just bricked my account. Okay. Okay, can I call this one? This one was not messed up. I can't call any vehicles. Wow. Okay. We have a few options here. Let's try... I could restart the game too, but let's try just going into here to reset the stuff. Unstuck? Yeah, restart the game. Yeah, I'll probably try restarting the game. Maybe it's the time? Huh, I don't think so. Like, I don't think time and weather matter for it, right? Alright, let's just watch the blossoms do damage. Look at that. All the blossoms. Okay, let's see if that helps. And we'll change the time and the weather. Unstuck from phone as well. And we'll see if any of these methods work. No. Okay, okay. Unstuck from phone. I actually don't know where that is. Unstuck. Alright. Okay, does this unstuck our vehicles? All right. Yes, I think that worked. I think unstuck worked for our vehicles. Oh, welcome back, my beautiful motorcycle. Now I want to see if we can call a vehicle with no wheels. So let's go ahead and try that again. This time we're going to use our beater. And we're going to pop the tires and see if we can still summon. Look at it. Look at it. I have to take my motorcycle over to the car to get to the car, right? Like that is just way less convenient than just being able to summon the motorcycle and ride it whenever. So yeah, can you guys tell I'm biased? All right, there, looking good. Okay, now we've done that. Let's try to summon our vehicle with no wheels or no tires. So we're just gonna go on a little bit over here. Okay. That should do it. And a vehicle requested. Where you at, buddy? There it is. Okay, does it have any tires? Is it messed up?
take over.
Yes. It can't brake properly either. It comes with no tires. Oh my god, this is so ridiculous. This game is so ridiculous. I love it. I just love all these absurd details. Like, you can ruin your car and then summon it with no wheels, with no tires. Absolutely outrageous. Can I please destroy my windows, though? Yes. Oh, come on. Come on, we're shooting up our car here. Yeah, don't mind me, guys. Don't mind me. Just another day in NTEHAVEFUN, okay? No windows allowed on this car. Excuse me, lady.
Another terrible driver. Hey, don't stop. There's a car robber. Call the
Okay.
security office.
There we go. That should keep her quiet. That should keep her quiet.
Pretty lively here.
Okay. Wow, Natalie really launches the car. What the heck? I wonder who's the best at beating up cars. That is a very important question. So this will be like the Street Fighter challenge, where you beat up the car as much as you possibly can, as quickly as you can.
Hopping in.
Okay, let's move it a little bit. All right. The problem is that you should pop the tires after you beat up the rest of the car, because now we can't like beat up the rest of the car efficiently by like driving it off of stuff. So there is like a beating up car meta. Mint, are you just gonna stand there and watch, or are you gonna help? Like, come on. Oh no, the car engine is steaming. What the heck? Oh my god. Oh, it exploded. It exploded. Holy cow. Is this all that's left? I can't even drive it anymore. Oh no, I can't drive it. The vehicle is damaged. Please repair it. Oh no. Oh no, it's gone. Can I display it in my garage? Do I have a garage to display? Oh, we need the Fanglin Villa property so we can display it. Oh man. Does it display it with the damage? Okay, display. Oh, look, it's in pretty good shape now. It's in pretty good shape. Like, they restored the paint. Okay. Okay, let's try summoning it again real quick. Okay, let's go. All right, we're going to drive kind of far this time. All right. Okay, anyway. Good parking. No, the vehicle is damaged. We can't summon it. Oh, that makes me so sad. I want to see that thing, you know, come and appear. That'd be hilarious. But you can destroy a vehicle and make it explode. This would be such a funny challenge to see which character can blow up the vehicle the fastest. Like, I would love, so it'd be like a DPS showdown, but a car explosion showdown. Okay? So that would be a great video. I would love that. I would love that. And I don't know if like character level and stuff like that matters. Oh my god, turn down the brights, lady. Man, those headlights are something else. Okay. Anyway, I think we got a little distracted. I'm not sure if... Actually, you know what? I think we've been right on track. We've managed to focus and lock in pretty well for the topic of this stream, which is, of course, you know, team building and stuff. I can't help myself. I just can't. I just have to do that every time I can. Okay, we're gonna do this head on this time. Break? Did you not even see what happened? Did you not even see what happened, bro? Come on, man. Come on. And you know what? This motorcycle's got so much aura. After you launch it at someone and it nails them, it stays standing. It even busts out its little kickstand. Beautiful. Amazing. I absolutely love it. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Anyway. The vehicle is damaged. How very sad. Alright, but one more thing we have to do really quick. You see this major intersection right here. So if we strategically place... Okay, let's wait until these cars go. There we go. Okay. And then we also need to repair our vehicle. So you guys will see what I'm doing in a sec. So let's go repair our beater real quick. So we've got this thing. How much does it cost to repair? 4,000 fawns. Oh my god. Don't be like me, guys. See, this is just a waste of money. It's just a waste of money. But it's worth it, right? Totally worth it. Okay. All right, come on, Mint. You're helping me out here. So, we are going to park this one right here. So if we put this one right here, we can be efficient and block off 2 lanes. All right. And then over here, we will bring our moped. I need the moped. So we got to add the moped, and we got to add, where's the moped? Is it, wait. Okay. I don't know why it took me so long to find that, but it did. So I really don't have that many vehicles, unfortunately. What about one of these bird things? Do those block traffic? I mean, either way, it looks like no one's moving. Just from our strategic placement of our motorcycle. So I think we're good. I think we're good. But let's just bring out a few more. Just as in... Hey, wait. Oh, that overwrote my motorcycle. The moped overwrites the motorcycle. That sucks. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Okay, but we'll just leave that there. What about the car? Does the car overwrite the car? The cars don't override other cars, but motorcycles override each other. So that is good to know. That is good to know for the car summoning meta. There we go. Look at that. Look at that strategic placement, guys. Beautiful. Now those cars will be stuck. And we will just leave this one right here. Come on, buddy. It's really not that big of a deal. You know, you can just drive around. You see? Right here. Just go like this. Go like this, okay? All right? If there's an asshole in the road, just do that. Oh, people these days, like what's wrong with them? What's wrong with people these days? Like their attitudes, my god. I'm just trying to find parking spots in this city. You know, this is why I try to avoid big cities, especially driving in them, is because of freaking parking. Okay? So you guys are just going to have to deal with this. You guys have to deal with the parking like this. All right. Finally, let's talk about team building in Neverness to Everness. And since Neverness to Everness is finally out, you know what that means? That means a bunch of random guide videos like this one. And for this guide video, we'll be taking a look at team building for every single character in the game. Now, what's really awesome about Neverness to Everness right now is that thanks to the standard banner selector ticket, as well as another standard banner selector ticket that we are all getting in, I think, a couple days, 2 to 3 days from recording this video. That means you will have 2 standard banner selector tickets, along with, at the very least, 1 guaranteed S rank character just from pulling on the gacha. So that means that you will be able to get at least 3 of the standard banner characters on pretty much any account, at least if you want 3 different ones, right? So even for the most unluckiest of unlucky players, you'll be able to select 3 of them, and that has a lot of ramifications, of course, for team building and stuff like that. On top of that, we also get quite a few free characters, which I will set up really quick. So we're going to get these characters for free, of course. We have and everyone's account is going to be getting these 6 characters for free. We are all getting Slep, Mint, Adler, and Haniel. And of course, we are also getting Chiz. Sorry, I call her Chiz, like kind of Chizuru, but it's Cheese. Yeah, if you think about it, Cheese is Chizuru. Anyway, we are also all getting Cheese and Aurelia as well for free. So just off the bat, we already have 6 free characters to utilize, along with basically at least 3 standard banner S rank characters. Not only that, but of course, we will be getting more than enough currency to get a featured S rank character, like for example Nanalie or Hattori or whoever else you might be saving for. Like I believe Neverness to Everness hinted at Chaos being one of the next upcoming characters. So in terms of actual character selection and what characters you may end up having, of course every account is going to be different. However, it looks like that most of us are going to have a pretty decent amount of options to choose from. So with that being in mind, I'm not necessarily just going to focus on only building like fully free-to-play friendly options, because, well, free-to-play in this case kind of depends on what S rank characters you have. So instead, I'll be focusing more so on, hey, let's say you have Zhou Yuan. What kind of teams can you build with her that also consist of other S rank characters? Now, the next thing that we need to take into consideration for team building when it comes to Neverness to Everness is the Esper cycle wheel right here. And this is one of the most important factors for team building in Neverness to Everness. And there's actually something kind of interesting when it comes to team building in this game, and that is pretty much as long as your characters connect to one other character, honestly, that team basically can work. Like, is it going to be the best team or the best possible variation of that team? Not necessarily, but just like that, you pretty much already have a functional team as long as everyone connects. Now, there are some situations where certain characters don't have to connect and that team will still work. And another reality here is that, let's say you need the incantation element for whatever reason. Honestly, when it comes to that, any incantation character, whether it's, for example, Adler, Sakiri, or Baitong, they can all trigger the incantation related Esper cycles to differing levels of efficiency and proficiency as well. But the fact is that they can still all trigger it, thus making them just kind of work as a team. So that's one really interesting aspect of Neverness to Everness, is the fact that basically so many team combinations work as long as your wheels end up connecting. So this example, though, that I had on screen while I was yapping about that actually has Haniel as an unconnected member. And there are a couple characters who unconnected are still worth considering slotting into certain teams. Haniel, for example, being one of them, and we'll talk about more in a bit as well. So with that being said, you also need 2 teams fully built. And that means that out of our entire roster of, let's see, I think 15, right? 6, 9, 12, 15 potential characters. You're building 8 out of the 15 characters. And that means that it's honestly kind of hard to just have completely wasted your resources when it comes to investing into characters. So that's kind of another nice aspect about the game, is that generally speaking, regardless of whatever characters you end up building, you can probably slot them in some team or another where they will not be complete dead weight. And let's see, besides that, now I think it's more important to talk about some actually like decent synergy teams beyond teams that just function because they connect through Esper cycles. And really quick though, let's also talk about Esper cycles and why they are important. Esper cycles, of course, provide a lot of various benefits. The reactions themselves can be very powerful. Like, for example, charge as kind of a standalone reaction is actually just really strong, even without any of these enhancements. And the reason for that is because it just provides a ton of ultimate energy, allowing certain teams to basically use an ultimate every single rotation instead of every other rotation, which is actually pretty common in this game. Now, other reactions, of course, that are pretty decent standalone are reactions like Stain. Stain here just increases Psych and Lakshana damage taken. So, for example, when you have a whatever this element is, I apologize. I actually don't remember the name of all the elements off the top of my head. Let me double check real quick. Is it?
I have no interest in weaklings.
Is it Psych? I think it's Psych.
You're sharing.
I think it literally says it actually right here. So yeah, Psych. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, for example, Stain is fantastic with Psych and Lakshana damage because it increases the raw damage taken, like kind of a direct character damage. There's a lot of ifs and elses and buts with this mechanic here, but obviously this is going to be a pretty decent increase to your Psych and Lakshana characters' damage outputs. So yeah, now in terms of some of the other reactions, like for example, Blossom, or for example, Nova, and for example, Scourge, these ones tend to do better when you have characters that can enhance these reactions abilities, because when it comes to characters enhancing some of these reactions, they literally double its efficiency. For example, here we can see Joyuan doubles the amount of blossoms spawned by Blossom, and we can also see that Natalie here doubles the rate of firing by Blossom. So in order for Blossom to be balanced, because you literally can multiply its damage output by 4 just by having these characters on the team, that means that Blossom at a baseline can't be, super omega overpowered, but instead you bring characters that can enhance these abilities to really make Blossom be a central part of your team's damage output. So there are some other kind of Esper cycle reactions that this kind of matters for. Now, one more team building tip before we talk about specific characters and their specific teams are, how does Esper cycle damage work? Now, unfortunately, I don't have 100% verification for this, but at the very least, from what I've observed, this seems to be what's going on. And, based on the in-game text as well. So let's say you're trying to maximize Blossom damage on, let's set up our Blossom damage team right here. On a team like this. So this team focuses on Blossom damage with Natalie as well as Joyuan, both, in doubling Blossom's damage each, so multiplying its damage by 4. However, who actually can increase the Blossom's damage output? And if we take a look at this example, we can see here that in order to trigger Blossom, we need okay, what's the name of this element? Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's the shiny element. And I don't do... Oh, Cosmos and Anima. Okay, Cosmos. So in order to trigger this, the Cosmos character here will always be involved. And that means that your MC here, Zero, will always be involved in one of the Blossom reactions. So in order for that... So knowing this, what can we do with that knowledge? We can stack the stat charge cycle intensity on the MC. We can see here that I have 195 cycle intensity on her. And this means that Blossom, Nova, and Scorch damage will go up by 32.5%. And what's great about the Esper cycles in this game is that it takes the character with the highest cycle intensity stat, or the character that just does the most damage with Blossom, I'm assuming. We don't have like flat increases to these reaction damage yet, but yeah. It takes the character who will increase the damage by the most, and that character will end up owning it. That's at least from what I've personally observed. I'm not sure if the other characters do contribute to the damage or not. Maybe some of the reactions are a bit different, but at the very least, this means that because Zero here is the focal point for all the blossoms. We can stack cycle intensity on her, and we can just have the other two built with crit. And these two can just be focused on crit and doing more raw damage output thanks to that. So that is another core fundamental to team building, is who owns these reactions and who can benefit more from the cycle intensity stat. Okay, now with those fundamentals out of the way, let's finally talk about the actual characters themselves. So let's start with Zero, the MC. And for now, I'm really glad to inform you that the MC is actually one of the best characters in the game, especially for any Blossom related team or Charge related teams. And just as a quick reminder, when we take a look at Blossom and Charged, we can see future Remora teams will also like the MC, but really Remora's is kind of a nice quality of life right now. But Blossom as well as Charge are two very, what I would describe as like relevant reactions or Esper cycles that benefit teams significantly. And guess what? The MC happens to be the best enabler for those two reactions. And it's actually very simple. And this is because she is now, or they are now the only character in the game with instant cycle. And if we take a look at instant cycle, we can see right here that she is indeed labeled as an instant cycle burst DPS character. And taking a look at her skill, you can see here that the cycle energy is 100. And this means that just by using her skill, you will be able to perform an Esper cycle to, an adjacent element character. That's Lakshana or Anima characters right here. Lakshana or Anima characters.
What should we do today?
With pretty much no field time at all. So this means that she has fantastic charge generation rate, and oftentimes she could even do 2 in a row because of various mechanics and advantages. So yeah, she is a blossom generating machine thanks to all these factors. Excuse me. And the next thing about her is that she also deals significant ultimate damage. You can see that her multipliers here are pretty decent. Of course, they will go up significantly once you level them fully. And she also provides some other decent quality of life. Like, for example, she provides a little bit of healing with charge reaction as well. So she can, keep her team a little bit healthy in those situations. Now, at the moment, Zero is pretty much the best in slot for any Blossom related teams. And when it comes to Blossom related teams, this is, in my opinion, one of my favorite variations of it is with Natalie as well as Jo Yuan. And the reason why these two work so well is because, as mentioned multiple times before, each of them double the damage output for it. Now, I'm going to move on to other characters before I talk about all the teams that Zero is good in, because Zero's more so of a support / sub DPS character than she is like kind of the focal point of the team, minus the Blossom team, where I think she kind of is the focal point because, both the characters are trying to output as much blossoms as possible, and they all have to, converge onto Zero. Now, also, I guess while I'm here, I may as well mention that when it comes to building Zero, you can use either the Speedy Hedgehog for providing the team with 15% attack, since in this case, when we're stacking her with cycle intensity, focusing on cycle intensity instead of crit, her personal damage matters a bit less. Alternatively, you can also build her with the Cosmos set. This is when you want her personal nuke damage to do more damage. And yeah, in terms of stat focus and stuff like that, I'm not going to talk about that with every character, but I do think it's worth mentioning that for her, she's a very good user of the Speedy Hedgehog set, which is a great set for obvious reasons, boosting the entire team's attack by 15% when she uses her ultimate. So yeah, just a fantastic character all around, and she also has a lot of flexible weapon options. And really, when it comes to cons for Zero, I think the biggest con, there are a couple big cons for her, I would say, but they're more so in the future. Obviously, when it comes to the MC and starting characters, I think Zero is very likely to get power crept in the future. Also, we may see, like, if we see another Blossom character or another couple Blossom focused characters, because Zero does not enhance Blossom in any way, they may squeeze her out of that role, but of course she can still be used for the instant cycle for other teams. So overall, amazing character. I think most people that want to build any Anima or Lakshana character should consider investing into their MC0. Okay, that was a lot of yapping. I think I spent too much time on her, but let's move on to the next free character that we are getting. And that is going to be actually, oh yeah, okay. Let's talk about the next free character that we're getting, and that is going to be Adler. Adler is an A rank character, and unfortunately in this game, there's only really one A rank character, in my opinion, that really can hold a candle up against the S rank characters. And Adler, unfortunately, isn't really one of them. But despite that, he still has some niches and some use. Of course, he's going to be a free-to-play friendly incantation character for those of you guys that want to obviously enable either Scorched or Hex, or Discord as well. You can see my face is blocking Discord, but you know, we can take a look at Discord later. And the reason why a Scorch and Hex are both quite useful, in the case of Hexed, he can boost anima damage significantly by 20% by using his Esper Cycle to help boost an anima damage character. And right now we have multiple anima damage characters, including Nanalie, including Jiu Yuan, as well as Mint. So Adler works quite well with them just by existing as an incantation character where he can provide the Hexed Esper Cycle for them. Now he also has another niche, which is in a full Scorched team. So the Scorched Earth team, which we will talk about later with Bai Tong, but you can of course slot him in there. Now in terms of his role, he provides a shield, and he also scales off the defense stat, which honestly at the moment is just a con, but you know, we'll talk about that in a bit. And a very unique thing about Adler is actually he deals a lot of break damage. So like the break bar, he deals a lot of that with his ultimate against a single target. So that's a really cool fact about Adler. If you want to break the enemy's, bar faster, then Adler's actually a really good character for that purpose. So it's cool that they gave him a niche like that. And also he has a very short field time. You pretty much just hop on the field, use his ultimate, then use his skill, especially once you have his awakenings, and you just get off, right? And that's also a disadvantage as well, because if you don't spend time on field with him, that means that you're not going to get much cycle energy. And without cycle energy, he cannot provide the Esper Cycle. So that's kind of one big issue with the characters, is that you may need to kind of ration which characters end up pairing the enemy. So for example, let's say you have a main DPS Natalie who has full energy and she's ready to go, but you don't have full, Esper Cycle. What you can do is you can parry with Adler to get that Esper Cycle, and then transfer that Esper Cycle and do an Esper Cycle with Nanalie when Nanalie uses her ultimate and stuff to output her damage. So that's kind of an issue with most characters in this game, is that they don't generate a ton of cycle energy by default. And Adler is one of them, where at the very least from my observations, he's one of the many characters that can't just, get really fast Esper Cycle. Now, one more niche for Adler, and this is a pretty minor benefit for him, but he does provide 10% incantation damage when he is at A6. And that's Awakened 6, which means you have all 6 dupes for him. So this is okay, and I think this kind of gives him a slightly better role when it comes to his pairing with Bai Tong. And we will talk about more about the specific teams when it comes to Bai Tong. And finally, we also have this passive from him. And this passive right here, it's a bit RNG, but it is one of the few sources of resistance shred in this game, which is really interesting. And yeah, so when you apply Scorch, you get an RNG debuff. So this can be good, this can be not good, of course, depending on which debuff you prefer on the enemy. But, obviously, it's pretty decent if you get the right debuff that you want. So that brings us to the next character to talk about, being Mint. And Mint is one of my personal favorite characters in this game, but they unfortunately butchered her in comparison to the earlier closed betas. In the earlier closed betas, she was an absolute monster. Oh my gosh, she did like infinity damage. But now she is an A rank character, very free to play feeling. And Mint is, in terms of her pros, she has two main pros, I would say. One is that she is, of course, free. everyone gets her. And if you need anima, whether to trigger anima Esper cycles or to just be an anima DPS character, she can indeed function for that purpose. But unfortunately, there are multiple other anima characters that basically just do what she does, but better. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But also, when it comes to Mint, another advantage that she does have is she's more of a quick swap character. So this is, you know, a small advantage over, for example, Natalie, who does indeed need much more field time than Mint. But of course, Natalie makes up for it. You know, we'll talk more about Natalie just right after Mint for a reason. But yeah, so that's pretty much it when it really comes to Mint. She's also very simple to use. She's very easy to use, which is great. And being an A rank character, you're very likely to get all 6 of her dupes in due time, especially right now in the game with so many pulls and with so few characters. There's a very good chance you will indeed get Mint's A6. So with A6, I mean, yeah, you know, of course, when it came to assessing character power level, of course, the A rank characters were assessed at A6, whereas the most of the S ranks were assessed at A0 or A1 in terms of, you know, their performance and stuff. Now, in terms of what else can she do? Well, of course, she's anima, so she can trigger Hext as well as Blossom. For Blossom, she improves the AoE, but the problem is that when it comes to Blossom damage, you're not really focused on the AoE damage that it outputs. But of course, you can indeed, you know, use it for that purpose if you need AoE Blossom damage for some reason. She's also anima, and being anima means that she can indeed trigger Hext with an incantation unit. So she can be a budget option to trigger Hext for example, an incantation DPS character like Bai Tong. Or she can also trigger Hext with an incantation character for a DPS character, for an anima DPS character like Natalie. But generally speaking, you have better options when it comes to your anima slot, which of course we'll be talking about next with Natalie. So Natalie as a character is the first featured character in the game. And she is, of course, you know, very good for that purpose. And she's probably the best DPS character overall on launch. But with that being said, you guys know how launch DPS characters go when it comes to their long-term power level. But at the very least for now, she's fantastic. And there are multiple reasons why she may be just a pretty decent investment in general, which we'll talk about in a bit. But Natalie, of course, is a main DPS anima character who also has some follow-up attack damage. And you can see here, I'll move chat a bit, but you can see follow-up attacks right there. And yeah, so she does follow-up attack damage with her ultimate. And with that knowledge in mind, she also has a fantastic Esper cycle passive, which doubles the Blossom damage output. And when it comes to Natalie, she's also quite easy to use. You just use her skill, use her ultimate, and mash that basic attack button for the duration of her ultimate, and Underboss will output a decent amount of damage. It's also very interesting that in Neverness to Everness, the duration of a lot of these characters' field times, like main DPS Natalie, is actually shorter than you would expect. For example, a lot of characters in other games might have rotation times of 12, 15, even 20 to 25 seconds. Well, okay, maybe not like their field time, but you guys kind of get what I mean. Underboss Natalie in this case is like maybe 8-ish seconds with her ultimate and all that stuff, which I do find pretty interesting. So there's just that kind of a bit of information, like, you know, for those of you guys who might be more used to like 10, 15 second main DPS rotations, in this case, hers is much shorter. So with that being said, Natalie works on some really good team archetypes, which we will go through in a sec. Let's actually build out all of these Natalie teams really quick. So we have Natalie. Okay. So we have this team first. That's my personal favorite. And I'm going to set up all the teams really quick. So we've got Natalie, Zero. We have some other character. And we have Zhou Yuan as well as Sakuri. Okay, and this next team, we will have Natalie, Zero, Zhou Yuan, and Haniel. Okay, and now we can start swapping around a lot, but I think one more team that I want to specifically talk about is this one with Daffodil and Haniel. And we can have a free-to-play friendly version of it as well. So we have Natalie, Mint, MC. Actually, we can put MC here. And this is like, yeah, that team's kind of cope, but you know, it is a team for sure. Okay. Okay, so let's actually go through some specific teams for Natalie, with this one being my personal favorite. In terms of its like sheet DPS, is probably not the highest, but in terms of just how the team felt for me, this was my personal favorite for multiple reasons. For one, this team has incredible blossom generation and blossom damage output, and especially in the early game, early to mid game, blossom is very, very powerful. And the reason for that is because typically character personal damage output improves significantly once you're able to stack double crit and their main offensive stat on their gear. But oops, not the button I meant to press. But if you take a look at the artifact, or if you take a look at the console that I have equipped on my characters, absolute garbage. I mean, you know, you can see the amount of crit rate that they have, the amount of crit damage. The point of personal damage being so powerful is that it scales off of so many different stats. And once you are able to get good gear in the late game, that's when that personal damage really starts to shine. And obviously right now, where even I am in the game and I've been rushing the game and spending money, I'm nowhere near that point. So this is why, especially for the early, mid, and early late game, I would say not like the full late game, but early late game, this Blossom archetype is so strong because it's kind of like a base reaction. You can kind of think of it like Hyper Bloom, except you need a couple specific characters to multiply Hyper Bloom's damage or Blossom's damage here, where you can see both Natalie and Jo Yuan double Blossom each. And on top of that, we have Hathor, and Hathor here is, I like Hathor a lot because Hathor here also provides Remora as a reaction. And Hathor is one of the better cycle generating characters in the game, which we'll talk about when we get to her. But because she can trigger Remora, she can trigger Charge for the team. And this gives a ton of ultimate energy for the team, especially with all the blossoms that you have. I don't know exactly like whether all three blossoms hitting each time generate 10 each, but either way, even in the worst case scenario where it just generates like a single Vita pistol's worth of energy, this is a ton of ultimate energy for your team. And ultimate energy is kind of interesting in this game because it's actually not like as easy to grab, in my opinion, as for a lot of other games that you might be familiar with. So yeah, this is why this is my personal favorite team as of going through my initial playthrough in the early mid game. However, in the late game, I would say this isn't likely the best team for Natalie, which we'll talk about in a bit. Another great thing about this is that assuming you have the core Blossom 3 right here, the fourth slot is extremely flexible. So we can see here that we just swapped Hathor for Sakiri, and this team is great because Sakiri also offers pretty decent buffs while also offering additional and even better crowd control than Jo Yuan does. You have double the crowd control, so you can deal with multiple waves, or you can just really lock down the enemies with these two. Sakiri, of course, provides a decent amount of buffs herself, and she can trigger for this team Hexed as well. And Hexed is quite powerful because it will boost the anima damage output of both Natalie as well as Jo Yuan. There's one thing to note about triggering Hexed with Sakiri is that outside of like starting off with full Esper cycle, you don't typically spend a lot of time on field for Sakiri to get it. So you may have to rely on, for example, parries, or you can rely on, for example, giving Natalie's to Sakiri. This, of course, eats into your Blossom. So yeah, it's just like Esper cycle economy here. But you can see one of the issues is that, you know, just cycle generation in general if you don't have the MC. So that is just an interesting downside. Now, the other characters who you can even consider are a disconnected character like Haniel. And the reason why Haniel is here, we'll talk about Haniel in more detail in a bit, but Haniel just provides massive attack buffs, even without, needing to do any of the reactions next to her. One of the reactions does help her attack buff, but, even then, because right now we just don't have many buffers in the game, this is why Haniel is actually pretty solid for a hyper carry Natalie. And Zhou Yuan also becomes, not as necessary for a hyper carry Natalie. This is when you focus on Natalie's personal damage output with her crit stats and all that stuff instead of Blossom. But a very solid team. And as you can see, the 4th slot is quite flexible, all things considered. Now, another variation of this, for example, you can run the team that I ran for the level 99 boss. And we will talk about Fadia more in a bit, but if you need survival and you don't want to get one shot or you want to take a few extra hits, Fadia as a standalone character can indeed help you accomplish that. You build her to be as thick as possible, and this team, you just let Fadia take the damage, and hopefully your team will survive a bit longer than without Fadia, okay? Hopefully. Not always, but yeah. Obviously, your team's damage output will suffer with Fadia in comparison to options like Sakiri, Haniel, or Hathor, but every time that you see me mention Haniel, I'm kind of on a tangent here, but every time you see me mention Haniel, basically you can swap her with Fadia if you need more survivability for your team instead. Okay, so another quick option right here is we can do a charge hyper carry Natalie team. And this team is pretty interesting because you have charge in order to provide Natalie the energy she needs to have good ultimate uptime. Hathor also provides some other buffs as well. And on top of that, now we can connect Haniel over a bit. We still don't get Haniel's bonus attack buff, which I think is triggered off of the other thing. Yeah, it's triggered off of this. So you still don't get like Haniel's full thing, full potential unlocked, but it's still pretty decent, right? It's still okay. You can boost Hathor's damage here, and you have 2 sub DPS nukers in this situation. So this is kind of like a charge Natalie DPS character. But if you can't tell now, you can really mix and match a lot of these characters, whether they connect or not. Certain characters, and most of the time, if they connect, it'll be just fine. And we have the next team right here. This is a pretty cool team because we have 2 separate but connecting sections right here with Natalie plus the MC to trigger some blossoms as well as MC's low field time and support. And then we also have Daffodil and Haniel here who can support each other. And this is a really cool team, especially if the enemy has a lot of parries, because you can really rely on Daffodil to really get those quick and snappy parries against the enemy, and basically an infinite amount of them, because she'll be able to regenerate her ultimate thanks to that mechanic. And finally, Haniel can take advantage of her passive here, right here, Nova, this passive, where Haniel will now be able to provide the maximum attack buff that her kit will allow, thanks to Daffodil also being on this team. So yeah, another interesting way of team building is to split your Esper wheel like this between the 4 characters. We have 2 that Esper cycle to each other, and these 2 that Esper cycle to each other. And this team also works quite well. Okay, so that about wraps it up for Natalie. We can move on to the next character before I lose more of my voice. And that character being...
What should we do today?
I don't do vague requests.
The next character being Zhou Yuan, and she is an awesome character for multiple reasons, but basically she is also another kind of a burst DPS character. We actually have quite a few of them in this game, and on top of that, she provides grouping with her skill. So not only does she deal solid damage, you see what I did there? She deals solid damage, but she's also an anima character, and she also has a fantastic passive where she doubles the blossom damage output. So this just basically means you can spawn 2 Vita buds per Esper cycle instead of 1, and it doubles the cap to 6 instead of 3. So literally it is just doubling the amount of blossom damage outputs that you have. And as mentioned earlier with Natalie, it's a really solid early mid-game team, and it's still pretty decent in the late game as well. Now, the next thing about her is that she also fulfills another really interesting role once you get her Awakening 1. And this actually provides a decent amount of healing for the team right here with her Lethal Rose Pact, which pretty much she will just have on the enemy most of the time. And this will allow her to provide some healing for the full team, which is absolutely fantastic. However, this is, Awakening 1. So if you do have her and you're considering using your selector ticket to get an Awakening on one of the standard banner characters, in my opinion, Joyuan is one of the better options to consider for that. Although personally, I think variety is the spice of life, and going for more characters tends to be better than going for dupes on any individual character. But hey, it's your selector ticket. You do with what you want with it. Now, the other great thing about her is that she has the option to be a very low field time sub DPS character. All she has to do is use her skill, use her ultimate, and then she can just get off the field if she wants. Alternatively, she can indeed stay on field to use her basic attacks to kind of function as a main DPS character. I would say it's not like the best option, but it is a viable option probably. And that's not bad, right? That's not bad considering how flexible she is. And because of that, there is one issue with it, and it's that in this game, enemies are aggressive. Okay, like they attack a lot. And when it comes to her being a main DPS character, let me find it right here. It is the 5th shot, the final shot, that has the reward for her basic attack string. So if you're unable to get the final shot off, which trust me, happens a lot because enemies are trying to murder you in this game and they will make you flinch all the time as well, she struggles a bit as a main DPS character. So there is that to keep in mind. And she also has a hold basic, which looks pretty cool, and she just shoots every enemy with the rose on them. So yeah, just a lot of fun stuff with her. So yeah, overall, an absolutely fantastic character, whether it is for Blossom teams or whether you just need an Anima character. Unfortunately, this is one reason why Mint struggles in the current meta, is because Joyuan is literally also a quick swap DPS character, but with grouping as well as more damage, as well as just, all of it. Okay, so yeah, poor Mint. Now, let's take a look at some specific teams for her this time. So we're going to have specific teams for Joyuan here. So we've already talked about Natalie. I'll leave one Natalie team up really quick, but let's talk about some unique teams for Natalie instead. We have Zero. Okay. Super free to play right here. And then here we have Daffodil, Skiri, and Haniel. So, as mentioned ad nauseum, by now we know that these three, Natalie, Zero, as well as Joyuan, form that really powerful Blossom core where Blossom will just deal a ton of damage. However, if you want to use Joyuan and you don't have, for example, Natalie, or don't plan to pull for her, you have many options. Like, for example, this team can be more of a hyper carry / main DPS Joyuan, and it should work reasonably well, all things considered. And we also have a more free-to-play friendly Blossom team right here with Mint as well as Edgar. The goal of this team is, of course, to just be able to have as many Esper cycles of Anima as well as Cosmo in order to trigger Blossoms, while you're only multiplying it by 2 instead of by 4 with Natalie. It is still one of her more reasonable free-to-play friendly options. Now, of course, you guys already saw all the Natalie teams with Joyuan on them, so I don't really need to go through all of those. And it's also worth mentioning that for the Natalie teams without Joyuan on them, you can just replace Natalie with Joyuan and have her kind of be the main DPS of that team.
If you fall and hurt yourself, it's your own fault.
I feel very comfortable in this guy's car.
Hey, get off my car!
Hey, you gonna do something about it? You gonna do something about it, buddy? Yeah, that's right. I didn't think so. See, he gets back in just like a good boy. Oh my God, he's honking his horn. Okay, let's ignore it. Let's ignore that guy. Okay, next character to talk about. Who's up next? Oh, I guess we'll talk about Hathor. Well, yeah, sure. We talk about Hathor next. Hathor. Gotta remember, it's Hathor, not Hathor. Okay. So we'll edit in a bunch of Hathor's unique teams. I've already kind of mentioned a bunch of them. Okay. Hathor, Zero. This one's interesting. And Haniel. I think it's because we want the whatchamacallit reaction. Stain. Yeah, why is Joyuan in this one? Well, it's fine. I think it all ends up working out just fine. Okay. So we also need a couple more Hathor options. We have Hathor, Daffodil, Sakiri, and Haniel. Okay. Okay. Hathor. Joyuan. Wait, this one doesn't look right. Let me see. Oh yeah, actually that's fine. That's probably fine. Okay. So we'll talk about Hathor as well as Skia. All right. Zero, Haniel, and Hathor. Okay. All right, so the next character to talk about is my personal favorite character in this game. I'm just biased towards motorcycles, and I guess girls with motorcycles. So Hathor is that character, but Hathor is up next, and she is, in my opinion, a fantastic character in this game. And Hathor focuses on basically just burst damage output, and we can see here, you can see her role being burst damage, and her being a Lakshana character right now also makes her a pretty valuable asset, as we've seen in some of the previous teams that I've mentioned. So she can just swap on field, and she deals some really good big nuke damage, as well as having great AoE on her damage output. However, there are a few issues when it comes to Hathor's kind of consistency and performance, in that it's a little tricky to consistently generate 6 of her feathers, because the conditions to generate them are dependent on enemy attack patterns and things like that, which unfortunately isn't the most reliable thing in this game. So there's that to consider when it comes to, you know, whether or not you like Hathor a lot or not, is just the inconsistency with the feather generation. But with that being said, you can of course use her burst or ultimate even without maximum feathers. You can use it with like 2 feathers, 4 feathers. Ideally you have 6 feathers, but overall, you know, you want to use it with 6 feathers if possible. Then you basically just generate feathers some way or another through her skill and other methods, and then use her ultimate, and then use her motorcycle as many times as you can, and she gets off the field. So she's a very short field time character in that sense. And if we actually take a look at some of her numbers here, you can see that she actually has decent cycle energy generation. She's one of the few characters in this game that, in my opinion, still has really decent cycle energy generation. A lot of the characters fall short with that after the last closed betas and stuff. We can also see that against smaller enemies, when she has this attack where if you hold it, she'll pick up the enemy and slam them onto the ground. Against those smaller enemies, she will also be able to generate a lot of cycle energy in comparison to most of her peers. So she is one of the better characters who can generate 100 cycle energy in order to trigger Lakshana related reactions or Esper cycles. So when it comes to the 2 Lakshana reactions, we have Remora. Remora at the moment isn't fantastic, but Hathor also does enhance its performance, extending the duration to 12 seconds and also providing a nice small buff of 10% crit rate to enemies affected by Remora. So this is why Hathor is actually pretty decent when it comes to her pairing with the earlier teams that I mentioned with Natalie as well as the MC. And Hathor can also obviously enable Stain, which is good for Lakshana, and she can also enable Charged, which when you do Blossom as well as Remora, one after the other. You will initiate charge, which generates a ton of energy for your team. So this is one reason why Hathor, in a way, is also pretty decent as like a support sub DPS character, because she does provide a lot of potential energy as well as damage herself to the team. Now, what else does she do? Let's see. I guess that's about it. But she does feel, and as I mentioned already, when it comes to her cons, she feels inconsistent for generating the stacks. Now, one more very important thing about Hathor here is that if we bust out the motorcycle, most characters in this game, they don't have a car driving animation. So if I try to get on the motorcycle with the MC, you will see, or sorry, with Joyun, you will see that we switch over to the MC to ride the motorcycle. But Hathor, on the other hand, she can actually ride the motorcycle. On top of that, not only can she ride the motorcycle, but because her signature arc is the Raging Flames, if you equip her signature arc while on a motorcycle, it turns into a flaming motorcycle. So this is why Hathor is the best character in the game, in my opinion, is because she looks absolutely sick on motorcycles. And yeah.
Recipient confirmed.
Woohoo! As long as I'm watching your back, you won't have to worry about a thing.
So we've already covered a lot of Hathor's teams with Natalie, or with, you know, for example, any anima DPS character in the game. And Hathor, in this case, in terms of teams that don't consist of the earlier ones that I already mentioned, we have more main DPS Hathor options with, for example, something like this. Haniel can trigger, whatchamacallit, Stain, which increases Hathor's damage significantly, because you can see here, Stain, when Haniel manages to trigger it, gives 20% more damage on Hathor's nuke damage output, which is great, as well as all the buffs that Haniel provides. On top of that, we can get charged up and running, which Hathor benefits from the ultimate energy, as well as utilizing, basically you're using 3 kind of a short burst characters in actuality. So this isn't much different from Joyun's main DPS team. Honestly, you could on-field Joyun, you could on-field Hathor. It's fine either way. It's fine either way. So yeah, pretty interesting option. Another option is to actually go the other direction on the wheel. And this is so cool because, and you know, you can just go whichever direction or combine whichever kind of 4 elements that you want. So you can go this other direction. And while Hathor doesn't take advantage of charged here, what she does take advantage of are 2 buffers. So we have both Sakiri providing her buffs, as well as Haniel providing her buffs. And then we have Daffodil potentially connecting Haniel as well, in order to provide some, you know, more buffs from Haniel. So just an interesting kind of team building mentality is that you can indeed go the other direction on the wheel. My opinion, these teams aren't like as good as, for example, main DPS Natalie or something, but overall they are functional enough for the game's progression. And yeah, I mean, you can probably clear some decent end game stuff with a setup like this, all things considered. And we have some other options, like, for example, we have the split right here. These splits are always kind of cool to see, but these can provide, you know, some interesting buffs for your team. We can run both Haniel and Sakiri in order to jack up Hathor's damage if you so desire. Although, not 100% sure how good this team is, but yeah, it is an interesting option. So let's talk about, really quick, I wanted to mention Skia as well. Basically, he is like kind of budget Hathor, in all honesty, for most situations. But he is interesting because he can spend a lot more field time. And this is an actual distinction between a lot of 4-star DPS characters, or I guess a couple 4-star DPS characters, is that they actually prefer spending more time on field. And where is it? Is it his, I think it's his ultimate, right? Yeah, his ultimate increases his damage output by 15 seconds, although, you know, he may not want to spend all that time on field, but still, it's an interesting option. So Skia is a main DPS Lakshana character. Unfortunately, like, you can just kind of look at his design, you know, budget character, budget damage. It is what it is. At least that's what everyone's saying. I tried him a couple times and I personally wasn't impressed, but he does have a really cool playstyle. And I think for people that want to make him work, they should be able to make him work. And basically, in any of the teams where you saw Hathor in them, you pretty much just swap in Skia as a 4-star or as an A rank, kind of a DPS, more budget, free-to-play friendly option instead of Hathor. Because, yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say about Skia. Although one cool thing about Skia, although we do have this team that I cooked up for him, this team is kind of unique to Skia because we can also slot him in with Hathor as well. Hathor can indeed just function as a second Lakshana character on this team to provide some more damage output and nuke damage, stuff like that. You know the drill. And you can replace MC with Daffodil if you want. I mean,
What should we do today?
by now you can probably recognize the pattern. Connect the colors and you will have some type of reasonably functional team. Now, one cool thing about him is his exploration capabilities. He's able to turn into goop and climb up some walls. And this is kind of like a budget Natalie, in all honesty. And it is a great exploration tool. Some situations Natalie's better, in some situations his wall run is better. So you can reach a lot of high situations, a lot of high things. But yeah, see, you can see there it ended, and then he just, oh my god, he jumped the other direction. Absolutely brutal. Hang on. We can do this. We can do this. Go all the way up, man. You can do it. You can do it. Don't troll me again, please. Okay, can he make it up? Can he make it up? Oh, we're so close. We're so close. We're so close. Oh, yes. We did it. Okay. So we made it up here.
Trust me.
And so yeah, he is a great character for exploration purposes if you cannot tell. And we'll just take care of this real quick. So yeah, so in that case, we couldn't drag it up. Is there another fish? Okay. Anyway, we beat up a few fish. Oh yeah, Hathor can also plunge like this. Looks absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, that's just another exploration perk of Hathor. Okay. So the next character to talk about is Bai Tong. Actually, oh man, I skipped Mint, but we'll rebuild all the teams with Mint instead later. I guess that's fine. That's not a big deal. Wait, did I skip Mint? I didn't skip Mint, but I skipped the teams part for Mint. Let's see. Okay, so the mentality when it comes to team building for Mint is that pretty much any team that Natalie is on, you can swap Natalie out for Mint, and it's good enough. It's good enough. It works. Okay, so Bai Tong is next. Quick edit. Okay. So we have Bai Tong, Kiri, Julian, Daffodil.
Stand by.
That's an interesting team. Okay. All right, let's build out the rest of his teams here. Daffodil, Sakiri. Oh yeah, this team is cool. I like this team a lot in concept. Okay, anyway. All right, then we have a couple more. Let's grab Bai Tong. Daffodil.
A new commission?
Sakiri and Julian. There we go. And okay, this last team is kind of cool, but I wanted to talk about it because it's so interesting. And we will leave the last slot blank, but yeah. Okay.
Back to work again. Go ahead, I'm listening.
All right, let's talk about Bai Tong. And Bai Tong is a pretty goofy character. He's a pretty funny guy. So anyway, this guy here actually has a really cool playstyle. And honestly, I might actually bring him into the tutorial to talk about him because it's pretty difficult to articulate just by talking about him. And this is one of those characters where it is much better to just show it. So let's go ahead. Character tutorial by Tong right here. There we go. Okay, so we'll just blast through this tutorial real quick. After 2. Okay. Hold basic attack. Oh yeah. That's right. I already forgot how to use him a bit. Okay. So we've generated Bless. Now he uses ultimate to trigger the Bless. Okay. So, Bai Tong as a character is actually really confusing at first, and it did actually take me a little bit to wrap my head around his kit. Basically, he has 3 types of seals. If you do 3 basic attacks against the enemy, you'll see the first seal, which is called... Okay, actually, what is it called? I don't remember the names. Let me check the names real quick. It's called Bless. Okay. Silence and Objurgate. Is Objurgate even a word? Objurgate. I'm going to forget that. But this one, when you attack the enemy with 3 basic attacks in a row, you will apply a blessed marking on them. And you can see here that we can put up to 3 markings onto this enemy. I believe it's 3. So you can see now we have 3 blesseds on the enemy. And once the blesseds are all on the enemy, what you can actually do is you can use his ultimate and it will consume all the blesseds off the enemy to heal him as well as to do a little bit of extra damage. And while you're attacking while his ultimate is active, you'll keep applying blesseds and the blesseds will automatically trigger, I believe, thus continuously healing him. And this is done just by spamming his basic attacks. So next, let's fill up his energy really quick.
Shh, keep quiet. Yo, good chat, Joe.
Okay. Energy almost filled up. So, Bai Tong also has 2 skills. Now, basically, one of the skills is, we'll wait for these blessed seals to run out right here, fall off the enemy. So this next seal is the silence seal. And if you just dash in any direction or just anything, it will change his elemental skill, or it will change his skill to the silence version. So you do this, and you use it, and now you will apply the silence thing on the enemy. So now if we use his ultimate, the silence seal does a lot more single target damage. You can see there, all that single target damage was from the silence seal. So if we do the silence seal again, just by dashing and using a skill, it will do that again. You can see that big instance of single target damage, that 24,000 damage. So he has the option to deal a lot of single target damage with the silence seal. And now I need to fill up his ultimate energy again. So we'll go ahead and we may as well do this. Okay, so the next thing Oh yeah, let's wait for the blessed seals to fall off this guy. Actually, we can do it against a group of enemies right here. So the next and final seal he has is why Baitong is such a flexible character, is that after you perform a hold attack like this, it will change his skill into Objurgate. So we'll just do a hold attack, use the Objurgate version, you see a much bigger AoE field on you know, the enemy, and we can also see this thing on the ground. So now if we use his ultimate like this, it will do a big instance of AoE damage. You can see there that the AoE thing exploded. And just do it again. So this one does less damage to a single target than Silence does, but it deals a bunch of AoE damage. So this is why Baitong is such a cool and unique character, is because he has multiple different options for the situation. Whether it is his hold basic in order to use the Objurgate seal for AoE, or if it's the dash basic in order to use the silence seal for a single target situation. So yeah, all this is just to say that Baitong is a flexible main DPS character capable of dealing with single target as well as AoE situations. And in theory, he has some of the highest theoretical damage in the game, but as you can see, he is a bit more confusing to utilize than some of the other DPS characters that like Nanali, and yeah. And also, Baitong has self-sustain through the blessed seals. You can see there, he generates 10% when he consumes the blessed seal during his ultimate, although he spends, I believe, 5% of his HP every time he generates a seal. So if you're generating it correctly, or sorry, consumes 3% of his HP when he generates any seal. And when he consumes a blessed seal, he will heal for, does he heal for 10%? Is it 10%? Oh, okay. He only heals for 5%. So he heals for 5% of his HP if he consumes the blessed seal. So you can see there that he will be consuming his HP and healing a bit of his HP over and over. Generally speaking, it's not difficult to keep him over half of his health, because once he's under half of his health, the HP consumption is halved right here. But that also means that if you aren't careful, you can find yourself in sticky situations with him having very low HP because you've been consuming your own HP without healing it back with Bless. So that is a bit of a disadvantage. Now they really stacked his kit with a lot of different random things. Another part of his kit is that he actually executes target. And no, it does not evolve into Executor. It just executes. And it executes small normal enemies when their HP is under 10% and boss enemies are under 5%. So this means that basically he just has to deal with 5% less of a boss's hit points if he has his ultimate available. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in his kit. And that's not all, because we're going to get out of here and go back to the team building screen. Any second. So if we look at the team building screen, and we will actually highlight this team, we can see that Baitong also provides a Scorched enhancement. And in this case, Scorched enhancement, he literally can double the Scorch application from his team, which is really interesting because he can double the dot damage that Scorched does. And we also have, for example, other characters that like Sakiri, who also increases the Scorched damage DOT taken. And then we also have Adler, who can indeed increase the Scorched damage taken by 10% with his Esper Resistance Shred. So in other words, Baitong can absolutely work quite well outside of just relying on his personal crit scaling damage output. He can also be used in a Scorch team, which is very interesting. So yeah, another way where he can play on another archetype of team, being a flexible character. But wait, that's still not all. There's more. And that is right here. He has some coordinated attacks with his buddies, being Skia, as well as Fadia, as well as Lacrimosa. So yes, he's going to have fancy team attacks or something with these characters as well. So a very interesting character, and Baitong kind of surprised me. He's one of the characters I personally didn't really want at first, but now I'm pretty, I do like him a lot. I actually like him a lot. So his disadvantages, as mentioned, is that he also has a pretty confusing kit, and he also has one more team building restriction, that being that Daffodil is currently the only chaos character in the game. So if you really want Baitong to do well, most of his teams do really like having Daffodil in them. Although, you know, he doesn't technically have to have Daffodil in them, but a Daffodil is a great character to use with him. So there's that one bit of disadvantage when it comes to him being the way he is that Daffodil is the only chaos character.
It's my
But
duty.
keep in mind that Lacrimosa, the other member who he synergizes with,
Go ahead.
one of the
I'm listening
upcoming
back to
S rank
work
characters,
again.
also
Fine.
happens to be, you guessed it, a chaos character. So I guess they're cooking up a team with these 4 characters all on the same team. So let's talk about some specific teams. Now for Baitong, we have this team, which the reason why we have Zhou Yuan on this team is to provide Hexed. And the reason why Hexed is so good is because it increases the damage that he does, his incantation damage by 20%, which is very, very strong, obviously. And next, we also have a couple Scorched enhancements with both Baitong as well as Sakiri. So this team is actually kind of dipping into the best of both worlds here, providing the Hexed buff to buff his personal damage output, and also providing the Scorched buff to buff the Scorched DOT damage output with Sakiri as well, who also happens to buff the Scorched damage output. So yeah, a very powerful and synergistic team. Of course, Daffodil is very strong as well for reasons which we will talk about when we get to Daffodil. Now, this next team is a full Scorched Earth team. Your goal is just to apply as many Scorched as possible. As you can see, we have 3, what element is this again?
Let me get out whatever Kiramaro gobble.
Incantation, sorry. We have 3 incantation characters, all with Daffodil. Daffodil being such a high demand character for this team because they all funnel all their Esper cycles into Daffodil in order to apply as many Scorched as possible and doubling and sometimes quadrupling the damage that the Scorched does. So this is why this team is also quite functional, and it's also a very interesting team where Adler is a great option because he's one of the 3 incantation characters in the game. So therefore Adler is literally just the best option for this team because of that, because you don't have any other options. So yeah, that's also really cool. Now this next team is, let's take a look. This next team really just tries to crank up his damage multipliers as much as possible. So what we're doing here with this team is we are providing the massive attack buffs that Haniel provides to the entire team, including Zhou Yuan. And then we also have Zhou Yuan providing the Hexed reaction, multiplying his damage by another 20%. And then we have Daffodil, Daffodiling around. Daffodil, of course, just, you know, good for the good for the Scorch reaction, but also, more importantly, she's actually good with Haniel, because Haniel here, once you trigger Nova with Daffodil as well as Haniel, you'll provide an even larger attack buff because of that. So yeah, this is why this team, the goal is to just bring up Baitong's personal damage as much as possible, and we're not relying on Scorched as much in this situation. We're cranking up his crit multipliers as high as we can. Now, this next team was cooked up by my buddies over at Pridewin. I found this one really interesting, but it's a dual DPS Nanalie plus Baitong team where I think you try to spend less time on Baitong in order to squeeze in Nanalie's full rotation here. I think it can work because a really cool thing about this is that we have great Hexed uptime. And Hex, of course, being a very powerful reaction. And Sakiri is this team's damage buffer, providing decent attack buffs, as well as some defense shred buffs and all the stuff that Sakiri provides, which we'll talk about soon enough. And we can see here that this team tries to squeeze out some of Nanalie's damage, tries to squeeze out some of Baitong's damage, alternating who gains from the Hexed damage buff reactions. So very interesting and cool team. Doesn't utilize their passives at all, right? Like we're not utilizing the blossom bonuses and all that stuff. So that's an interesting option for sure. And we'll have to see how it performs. I think it has potential, and so do the people over at Pridewin, obviously. Now the next team is is Baitong and his co-workers. Just another day at the office team, and this is because of this passive right here, moderate working. Great work ethic to just work moderately. I agree with him personally. But in this last slot, you would slot in Lacrimosa whenever she comes out, because she would be the chaos character here. Temporarily, I guess you would slot in Daffodil. But we can pretend that Daffodil is Lacrimosa in the future, where I guess we're going to use all of his coordinated attacks. I don't know if this team will be good. I personally don't think so, because Skia is a bit of, I don't know. He feels, we're lacking in team buffs here, okay? We're lacking in team buffs, but maybe this will be like a cool looking team at the very least. And I just find it really interesting that he has coordinated attacks with each of them. Okay. Phew. All right. That was a lot about Baitong. He was a bit more of a complicated character, so there was just a lot to talk about with him. So let's finally move on to the next character. And that next character is going to be Sakiri. And Sakiri is going to be a bit easier to talk about, because we don't need to worry about her dedicated teams. Fortunately, we can just talk about her as a standalone character. And the reason for that, Sakiri is a great, almost universal kind of support character. And she does a lot of great stuff for your team. For one, her skill here groups up a bunch of enemies, which is fantastic. So you just press this thing for a quick slam and it groups up a bunch of enemies. Or you can hold it, which will also group them up, but it will lock the enemies in place. I think it will levitate them. Right? Yeah, it'll levitate smaller enemies. So for any chamber, especially in the train, where they always have like 4 trash mobs, like literally trash cans that start off, you use Sakiri, you can group them all up, and then you can blow them up with something like Hathor's ultimate or whatever AoE attack that you have in your party. And also we have her ultimate, which just deals some damage, and it also applies suppressed. Although it does say that suppressed does not work against bosses. So I'm not sure if the debuff applies. But on top of that, her ultimate also increases the team's attack by 30%. So very, very strong support character. Very similar to Haniel, in all honesty, providing the full team attack buff, as well as providing 10% defense shred. As well as if you have her Awakening 1, you can indeed just go for this, which provides the another 30% attack. So 60% total attack with her Awakening 1, making her an absolutely goated support character in this game. And her signature weapon, Good Boys Grand Adventure, also increases attack. So as you can see, Sakiri, just one of the best support characters in the game. And her being of the incantation element means that she works on, obviously, teams, anima teams especially. She can boost Nanali's damage significantly, and she can also synergize reasonably well with chaos characters if you want. So yeah, as you can see, a great, fantastic character. She's also great for buffing Baitong's damage output as well when you use him in a more scorched focus team. So yeah, really hard to go wrong with Sakiri. An absolutely great character in this game. Now there are some issues with her. Okay. And let's also just take a look at her. Whoa! Everything disappeared. All the cars went away. Oh man, I was just chilling on everyone's cars. But when it comes to exploration, Sakiri is a lot of fun. If you use her hold attack, you can ride on her little buddy, and you can eat random junk in the terrain. Look at this. Look at this. Can she eat it? Can she eat the... Oh my gosh, she can eat the light posts. Wow. So yeah, she can eat a lot of stuff just for fun, which is absolutely great. You'll have a great time with her doing stuff like that. And also, it's not just for fun. She can also eat one random trash mob. It takes a while to digest, But let's say there's one random enemy that somehow survived and it's off in the corner. Guess what? Security can just literally eat it and just delete it from existence. So she's also great for clearing out straggling enemies because of that. So it's actually better than it sounds in situations like that.
What do you want? If you're that free, go buy me the latest Duke cake.
All right. So with that, we can move on to the next character. Daffodil. Oh man, I'm spending so much time on each character. Wait, is it already 5:30? Okay, I gotta speed this up, guys. I gotta speed this up. So fortunately, Daffodil is one of the last S rank characters that we have. So we'll do Daffodil real quick.
Hold on. Let me get out.
I'm ready. A new commission?
I'll edit in the teams afterwards, but I will yap about her right now really quick. So Daffodil is our token chaos character, and she is literally our only chaos character in the game. So if you want any of the chaos related reactions, including Scorch, including Nova, as well as Discord, well, Daffodil is your gal. She is literally the only one that can be used for this purpose. And Daffodil is a break focused character. Her goal is to break the enemy much more quickly, and she is great at that job. And she's the only character at the moment who is focused on breaking the enemy's gauge more quickly. Breaking, of course, the break itself deals a lot of damage. On top of that, it makes the enemy vulnerable to your DPS window as well. So break is a very powerful mechanic, and Daffodil does a great job at breaking enemies. And the reason for that is because of her skill. Basically, one great resource that she utilizes is she can kind of utilize when her teammates use an Esper cycle, or if she uses an Esper cycle, she'll gain a stack on her skill. And those stacks, which stacks up to 2 times, will increase her damage as well as her break bonus to just make her skill deal a ton of break gauge to the enemy. On top of that, her ultimate is also really good, especially for quick swap teams and quick swap scenarios, because she'll gain these charges where if you swap her on field, she will attack the enemy, and you can use those phantom steps, as they're called, to parry the enemy. And basically, if you manage to parry the enemy with one of the phantom steps, I believe it refills her energy, right? Refills her ultimate energy, I'm pretty sure. Is it right here? Somewhere, right? Okay, I'm tripping. All right. I swear somewhere it says that, doesn't she fill up her ultimate energy? There we go. Oh, you have to click on Phantom Step, guys. You have to click on Phantom Step. So when you click on Phantom Step, and now it shows she refills her ultimate energy if she's able to use Phantom Step or the Esper Cycle attack when she swaps on to parry an enemy. So this means that with decent management of her Phantom Steps, as well as against a boss that, you know, does a lot of parryable attacks, Daffodil is your gal, and you will just basically wreck that enemy with her. So that also means that she is slightly worse against enemies that don't do any parries or have very few parries. And there's actually quite a few enemies in this game who don't really let you parry them. So yeah, there is that to keep in mind. But overall, she is a bit... overall, she's a great break character who just speeds up the breaking process significantly, while also providing some decent... some defensive utility through her Phantom Step, being able to just swap on and parry the enemy, and basically having unlimited uses in a way, or you can pretty much refill it over and over. You refill her ultimate over and over by, by triggering parries with her Phantom Step. Okay, so more details about her. Some of her pros is that she is a very low field time character. As I mentioned already, she's the only Chaos character. And let's see. Yeah. So a couple cons, besides just the fact that if enemies don't let you parry them, she's a little bit more difficult to use, but she's also a bit more hectic to use. And on teams that don't want to quick swap, which there are some, she's not as smooth feeling because you do want to quick swap her for those phantom steps. Okay, so next let's talk about Fadia really quick. Fadia is a really interesting character who focuses on survival. And the way I would describe Fadia is that she is good kind of for if you're under leveled, or if you're trying, or if you have like skill issues, like, you know, honestly, all of us do when we just first start off against many fights. And that is where Fadia really excels, because what she does, this should not be under her basic attack in my opinion, but it is. But basically, when her teammates besides herself take damage, she shares a % of that damage. So that means that that teammate will be much more durable, sharing Fadia's HP pool with them. Alternatively, let's say your other teammates are pretty healthy, but Fadia is on field. Then Fadia can be on field taking damage, and she will share damage with her teammates instead. So you can redistribute your team's health as you need to with Fadia. And that's kind of her main gimmick. And it's also why I used her against the robot cop, the level 99 robot cop. I think she was actually quite helpful there, mitigating a decent amount of damage, because the way you build Fadia is just with a ton of hit points. You can see here, she has 20,000 hit points at level 40. In comparison to, for example, Hathor, who's also built, Hathor only has 9,000 and Fadia has 20,000. So you can see a massive difference between their HP values. And this is why she's pretty good. She also has the ability to basically attach kind of a debuff on one nearby enemy, typically the most dangerous enemy around. And when you get hit, Fadia will share some of her damage that she takes with that enemy, further mitigating more damage, that Fadia takes. And on top of that, Fadia with the Nova reaction can chip away at the enemy's max HP. Now, I'm not sure actually if this deals damage to their current HP as well, or if it's only their max HP. Enemies don't really heal in this game, so I'm not quite sure if this is useful or not. But if it chips away at its max HP and also at its current HP, then this is pretty good. If not, then, I'm not really sure what to say about it. But yeah, so she can also, she just improves your team survivability. And one way to look at Fadia when it comes to team building, Haniel, you use Fadia if you need to survive. You use Haniel if you want more damage. And they are both the same element. This gassy looking element, I forget what it's called. And they both, fill in that role, whether you want to stain or whether you want to Nova, or whether you want to Discord as well. Okay. So a few more details about Fadia include some of her issues. Fadia scales off of HP, including her damage output. Right here you can see her ultimate deals HP damage, HP scaling damage, and this means that her personal damage output doesn't scale very well, especially with the current buffers that we have. For example, Sakiri as well as Haniel just provide massive attack buffs, which obviously Fadia can't really take advantage of. So unfortunately, her damage output is kind of gimped in that situation. Also, her ultimate can heal her too, which is nice, improving, in a way, kind of healing her provides a bit more survivability to the rest of the team as well. So there is that to keep in mind and to consider. All right, the next character we have is Cheese. And besides being the cheesiest character in this game, I absolutely think she's fantastic, especially how she tried to sell us that debit card, where she was indeed successful at selling us that debit card. So good for her. I'm very proud of Cheese for making her first debit card sale. Now, Chizuru is a main DPS character, and she's also very gassy. This is really funny. They named her Cheese, and she's gassy. Like, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't make it up. But she is a Cosmos main DPS character. And Cheese, the main thing about Cheese is that you actually will get all of her copies through the City Tycoon level. You can see here we get her disc, we get more copies of cheese, and we get copies of her disc. So by the end of it, once you get all the way up to Tycoon level 45, she will be at Awakening 6 with a maxed out signature R5 weapon. So it will take a while for most players to get her to reach her maximum potential. So there is that to keep in mind. Now, with that being said, supposedly she's a really good and free, obviously free, main DPS character. And she can also, I believe, eat one enemy sometimes. I found the eating to be less consistent than Security's, but her hold basic seems to eat an enemy sometimes. The way that she works is that she balances her grain resource at the bottom and consuming her grain resource with her hold skill during her ultimate. So basically you build up grain with her basic attacks, use her ultimate, and then you play this little mini game where you use her skill to do a bunch of grainy cosmos damage. And what's interesting about her, and this is actually a bit of a con, is that you have to look at the grain market for some amount of time, which means you are not looking at the enemy. And this means that in high stakes, highly dangerous situations, you may end up just getting hit way more than you want because you're looking at the grain market instead of looking at the enemy. So that is kind of a bit of an issue. Now, now she also provides a little bit of grouping as well. I think with like one of her hold basics, she has a couple different hold basics. So yeah, overall, supposedly she's a pretty good DPS character. Now, I will have to admit, I personally couldn't really get her to deal as much damage as I wanted her to in, when I was demoing her on the media server, which I'll have clips of that playing right now. But I'm going to trust what other people say about her in this situation and that she is a great DPS character. For me personally, couldn't quite get her to do the damage that I was expecting. And I'll showcase specific teams later for her. Once I actually fully edit the video. So up next we have, let's see, who else do we have left? We've done cheese. I think we haven't talked about.
Is there anywhere you want to go?
Okay, so we haven't talked about Haniel, Edgar,
I'm always available.
and Aurelia.
Hey, the wind's picking
Okay.
Who calls upon the name of Haniel? Wanna hang out?
All right, so let's talk about Haniel next. And people are calling her the Bennett of Neverness to Everness, and she definitely kind of deserves that title. For one, she provides an attack buff. For one, she provides an attack buff just by pressing her skill button, and at max level, I believe it's at 20%. And her ultimate does the same thing. It provides attack bonus just by using her ultimate by 20% at max level, if I remember correctly. On top of that, when Nova is triggered, she'll basically provide another 16% attack, making for a total of 56% of her base attack as an attack buff for the entire team. So just by using her skill and ultimate, she'll provide a fantastic attack buff for the team. And on top of that, she also deals some non-negligible damage herself with her coordinated owl attacks, or whatever they're called. Of course, her being both a free character as well as a 4-star character means that you will very likely get all of her dupes. And we also all get her arc for free, which provides another, I think, 8% attack to the entire team. So she just provides a lot of attack for the team while also dealing some non-negligible damage. And being the support character that she is, she kind of fits into a lot of different teams, which I've already shown you a ton of teams that have Haniel. Now, as mentioned, since she is of the psych element, use her if you just want more damage output while also fulfilling the psych element requirements, or use Fadia if you need survivability instead of damage output. So overall, a fantastic 4-star character that fits on so many different teams because of the buffs that she provides. Now, one weakness that I would say that she does have is that she has very poor cycle generation. without, parrying, as well as doing some of her basic attacks. So there is that to keep in mind, is that I personally find doing Esper cycles with her to not be the smoothest experience out there. Now, the next character to talk about is
I'm always a video.
Aurelia. And Aurelia is such an interesting character because, first of all, she has a very unique exploration gimmick where she just rides this jellyfish. And no, she still has to consume stamina in the water despite it being a jellyfish. And she cannot climb any walls. So exploration-wise, she is a very interesting and unique character. It's pretty fun to just bounce around on the jellyfish as well.
Is there anywhere you want to go?
Now, in terms of her actual role, though, let's see. Where is she? Where are my notes on her? Pretty sure I have her somewhere. Yeah, there she is. Aurelia is a main DPS psych character, and she has a very unique mobile Mizuki style playstyle. And honestly though, her playstyle is pretty satisfying because when she moves around, she deals a bunch of like jellyfish explosions. You pretty much just like use her skill or ultimate and then just ride around on her jellyfish for up to 12 seconds in her cadenza state. And that's literally it. That's her kit. And you can dodge as well while she's on her jellyfish. And yeah, overall, a pretty fun and unique playstyle. They really gave the 4-star characters like Skia as well as Aurelia some really interesting and unique playstyles, which is great. I do like that about it. Now, up next, her ultimate also provides some grouping as well, which is very nice. It's always nice to have additional sources of grouping and just very satisfying playstyle and explodey bits. Now, there are some issues with her, and, without diving into the specific teams right now, I'll edit that into the video after the fact, after this. But we can see here that her skill, her cadenza state, which lasts for 12 seconds, it's actually visually kind of difficult to tell whether or not it's still active. You have to kind of look at the little buff icon near her HP bar to tell if her cadenza state is still active or not. And also, she doesn't like deal the most damage in the world, and she, despite being of the psych element right here, she doesn't have the best synergy with Daffodil.
I'm ready. Stand by.
And the reason for this is because Aurelia does not want to swap off the field while she's riding the jellyfish. And of course, Daffodil being the only chaos character in the game, if you want any Novas and stuff and some of the benefits that Nova provides, like Discord or Nova, then yeah, there's a bit of awkwardness with using her with Daffodil, just because Daffodil is a quick swap character and Aurelia is the opposite of a quick swap character. And the final character to talk about is our poor boy Edgar. I honestly feel pretty bad for him with what, at the very least with right now where his kit is, because his healing is actually pretty rare in this game, and it is actually pretty good in theory. But the issue is that not only is it only kind of good in theory, he doesn't actually heal like an insane amount of healing. And he actually heals quite a bit if you just hold his elemental skill. But the issue with that is that in this game where enemies are super aggressive, you can't just stand here healing like this. Like, they're not going to give you a lot of opportunities to stand there and heal like this with his skill. So kind of a bit of a design issue, but he can heal in the overworld. And in terms of that, he's pretty much one of the only super reliable sources of healing in the game, besides, a couple other minor healing options. But yeah, so that's literally all he does is heal, unfortunately. He doesn't even generate an insane amount of cycle energy either. So yeah, they unfortunately just kind of messed up our boy here. There may be some interesting mechanics with what he can do for charge, funneling ultimate energy into kind of one character of choice instead of the way the charge usually works, which is a more gradual 10 energy thing. So maybe there's something to do there. Honestly, I don't know. So our poor boy Edgar, I hope he gets a glow up someday, but for now, he is definitely a bit awkward to use. Although he is a nice comfort character to use in the overworld for healing. But in my opinion, if you just need healing in the overworld, just teleport over here. It's probably faster than using Edgar to heal anyway. Okay, oh my gosh. I think that does it for this stream. I yapped about every single character. And oh no, how is this recording an hour and a half? What the heck? Oh my god. Yeah, so hopefully the final video won't be an hour and a half, but I really do appreciate you guys joining as always. So, absolutely great to have you guys, and I better get going. Wife and kid are home now, so I got to keep them happy and stuff. Happy wife, happy life. You know what they say. So, yeah. Okay. And that should do it for this stream. Let's see. How do I stop this stream? I think I go over here and I press this button. All right, guys. See you guys next time. Probably tomorrow. I think I'll be streaming again tomorrow.